do you think you'd buy a product like this?
Well, let us explain why these might solve some real problems.
And if we would get these.
Namaste, we're DHRME, Dazzling Harmonic Rhythms Music Ensemble.
So this is the Noxgear 39G and the DeWalt Wearable Speaker. Here are 5 reasons why we think you might get these.
Number 1, hiking. Look, both these products are basically tiny speakers that you can attach to your shirts magnetically or with a clip. So if you're out in the open hiking and want a little music as you also leave your ears completely open, these can be interesting. The relatively big buttons on both means you can pause and resume music based on the feel of the buttons. On the Noxgear 39G, except for play pause, the other buttons can be a bit tough to press. However, you do get more controls than on the DeWalt.
And when it comes to maximum volume, the Noxgear 39G outperforms the DeWalt. We'll talk about the sound quality in a bit with some samples for you to hear. But another reason you might also prefer one of these over the other is for the look. The DeWalt has its signature bright yellow, whereas the 39G is subtler and blends in a bit more. And who knows how long your hikes are. The Noxgear edges out the DeWalt in battery life with an advertised number of 12 hours versus 10 on the DeWalt.
A second use for these products is if you're working at home a lot, taking calls on speaker and want flexibility to move around. Keeping them clipped on also means you can answer and hang up calls in the kitchen. Look, these aren't going to get as loud as laptop speakers, but if you take calls on your phone, these are a step up from phone speakers. Since neither supports multi-point connectivity, you'll need to keep putting them in pairing mode. And doing that isn't exactly easy. You have to disconnect it from the device you're already connected to before it's ready to connect to another device.
The DeWalt here has basic controls, volume, track control, and your voice assistant. Whereas the Noxgear also comes in with a mute control for calls, super clutch on a device like this. There's also some more fancy controls if you remember the combinations. Battery status, disabling that LED, forgetting paired devices, disconnecting a device, etc. All of that is made possible because the 39G has 5 buttons versus 3 on the DeWalt.
Bonus, the mics on the Noxgear pick up your voice from fairly far away if you want to leave them at your table and move around a little bit. The Noxgear does have a little more range than the DeWalt. Here are some mic samples DHRME style.
Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, ice, icicle.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. And these are pretty useful if you don't have a car kit inside your car. You can control your media, your phone calls without having to take your phone out of your pocket. An advantage that the Noxgear does have over the DeWalt is that it has a headphone jack. So if you want to use in-ears, you can just plug it in and go for it. Whereas the DeWalt does not have that feature.
And if you're out running or cycling, the DeWalt offers you dust and water resistance at IP56, whereas the Noxgear gives you a little bit more water resistance at IPX7 without certified protection against dust. The magnet on the DeWalt clip is ever so slightly stronger here, and you also get a backup in case you lose one. Oh, and 39G isn't an uninspired name, but the weight of the product. The DeWalt weighs 52 grams. So if you're running, you will appreciate those fewer grams. Even though these might bother people around you with the open speaker and volume, you hopefully won't be around them long enough for them to call the cops on you.
You could work out outside or at a home gym, and these speakers are ideal in both places, especially for certain kinds of workouts. We don't think these are a good idea at a regular gym because gyms also have their own music, and why is gym music so bad? Anyway, let's listen to some samples for sound and then we'll tell you what we think of the sound.
I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.
These speakers are more an upgrade to phone speakers than an alternative to something bigger. The Noxgear is louder than the DeWalt, as we said, and there's a fair bit of difference at maximum volume. In terms of sound quality, temper your expectations. To start off with, there's really no low end to speak of. Forget about sub bass. You can maybe hear the mid bass kick drum, but even that's not really bassy. The Noxgear has better treble than the DeWalt. The downside is that the high end can be a bit harsh, especially at higher volumes. For podcasts, we found that both were quite usable, but the DeWalt actually made the voices sound a bit more natural due to the realistic timbre and less harsh hashes. But the DeWalt actually made the voices sound a bit more natural due to the realistic timbre and less harsh S's.
So which one would we buy? Both these products fit a very narrow niche, and we've tried to outline 5 uses where we thought these could work. There is one other use case that you see both these products advertising: Construction or DIY work. DeWalt makes more sense here. You've got dust resistance at IP56 and it's a brand everyone associates with DIY. But we wouldn't recommend a Noxgear there since there's no dust resistance at IPX7.
At the end of the day, none of these uses are for us, and we'd rather use headphones or real speakers for music. For calls, we could use in-ears, over-ears, or open ears if we don't want to feel plugged up, or laptop speakers or even Bluetooth conference speakers like these ones we reviewed.
If you put a gun to our head and made us spend our hard-earned $60 on one of these two, then we'd probably get shot. But after being shot, we'd probably regret it since we slightly prefer the Noxgear 39G. It's lighter, has better microphones, better battery life, has a more neutral color, and way more controls with the option to go wired if that's something you're into.
Guys, this was a fun little video and we did this when Noxgear reached out to us. They even sent us the DeWalt because they were that confident about their product. We never accept monetary compensation from companies whose products we review. So thank you guys for being our real sponsors, you YouTube members and lovely patrons.
You've been knocked out by this new audio category.
And we've been DHRME. Dewey.
Dewey.